Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Following the most recent British Grand Prix in 2026, attendance records in Formula One have been smashed once again, with over 500,000 people attending the Grand Prix over the 3 days. But it might surprise you to know that when F1 first ventured into Northamptonshire back in 1950, the crowds were enormous even then. Over the course of the weekend, of course it was only Saturday and Sunday then, 150,000 people attended the race circuit for the first ever Formula One World Championship Grand Prix. So spectators have always been a large part of Silverstone, but spectators of the animal kind have also been a big part and influence within Silverstone's history. A hare during the 1950 Grand Prix effectively hit Reg Barnell's car and caused issues for the driver. And the first ever race held at Silverstone in 1947, one of the drivers who lived locally to Silverstone hit a sheep. And that's where the Mutton Grand Prix name came from. But there won't be any mutton on the menu for tonight's race as we go for round number 6 of Invictus Racing League's Season 24 here at the home of the British Grand Prix. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator as always for the championship, and it's going to be an interesting race. We've got the one-shot qualifying sessions coming up, we've got the sprint to manage as well, but this is a circuit where the drivers have noted, and I specifically have noted within practice, that battery management is vital around this circuit. Harvesting alone is going to be nowhere near enough. We're going to be seeing some active recovery from the drivers. If they don't, they're just going to be permanently slower than the rest of the competition. So it will be interesting to see how everyone gets on around this still fabulous circuit here in Northamptonshire. But it's going to be a different type of race, I feel, for this evening. And we'll see how the drivers do around the track. And I'm very excited to see what happens over the next hour and a half. We do, of course, have the one-shot qualifying for the drivers to contend with. Anybody who does ready up early will be given a time penalty. That's been just announced today from the stewards, so that's just so people are aware, because everyone needs to get their setups loaded, and I have a feeling someone has readied up too early. Yeah, and someone has unbelievably readied up, and the crowd aren't very pleased. So we're going to get going here. Too early for qualifying, but we'll get out there and we'll go on board with one of the drivers. Who've we got here? I think we're on board with Corsair. So into turn 1 then here at Silverstone, and then into turn 2. I'm going to use the corner name True Farm, then into Village, down through the gears for the Alpine. A little bit tentative into that corner from Corsair, into the left-hander at the loop, and then out of the corner we fire off into Aintree for the first time of this race weekend. Blasting down the Wellington Straight and towards Brooklands. 2 corners that will punish tyre wear. Firstly on the right-hand side as they go through Brooklands, and then into Luffield at the right-hander. Just seemingly goes on and on and on and on, and then you can put the power down out of the right-hander. Woodcut is completely flat in most cars nowadays, to be fair, and into one of the most famous corners on the race circuit. Into Copse. It's a downshift for the Alpine into the right-hander, and then into Maggots and Beckett. See how the drivers do through here. What's the commitment like from the Alpine? It's nice and solid. A downshift into 6th and then 5th for the right-hander of Beckett's, and then out onto Chapel. Through we go towards the hangar straight, and you can see on the battery element here, there isn't much left at all, and people are sliding down the standings here as a result. Stowe Corner, the right-hander, 5th gear, nice and committed in these 2026 cars, and it's just effectively Vale and Club left to go. These two awkward 90-degree left and right-handers into the final blast to the line, providing you get the line right. It is flat in these cars. It's a 29 flat. It's, in fact, from Corsair, and it's Sydney taking provisional pole position for the sprint. Well, that was a full-blown blast of the racetrack here at Silverstone. 3.6 miles navigated. And we'll just have a look at the qualifying time. So it's the all-Dutch front row with Sydney and the War Islander on row number 1. Merckx and Owen, continuing on with his good form from last week as Owen, is on row number 2. Ashtube and Hulkenberger are 5th and 6th, with Ginger Tiger putting in a good qualifying performance there, and Luke in 8th place. Corsair, who we're on board with, and Jeremy Clarkson round up the top 10, and then it's down to Iran and Jackie inside the top 12. FRLO Stephen and Ira are on row number 7. Mikey is the last of the qualified standing drivers, but seemingly has had a spin on his lap. Nitrogash and ARL, last week's race winner, of course, not setting a valid lap time. Well, that was an interesting qualifying session, I have to say. And the drivers now will have been told again not to press ready up on the menu. Apparently ARL saying that he was invalidated from his AI. Apparently his AI went off the road. Because we'd like to see that. That is a bit of a peculiar one. Mikey just giving me a message to say whoever readied up will be getting a race ban. Completely bizarre. It is a little bit frustrating, you know. A lot of drivers seemingly continue making the same mistake. I can't see it from the spectator side, unfortunately, but there are people, for whatever reason, who just like readying up, which isn't ideal. But whilst we wait, because we're going to be going on to the formation lap shortly, let me run you through the drivers' standings inside the top 10 here for season 24. We'll see how everybody has been getting on. So Merckx still leads the championship despite not being here for round 5 last week at Miami. He's on 52 points. He's 1 point in front of Sydney, our pole sitter for this evening. So if we just get the data available so we can see what's going on. And the tyres, mediums, a couple of drivers on the hard tyre for this sprint race. So they're saving a medium tyre for later on in the weekend. So that's an interesting decision from Hulkenberger, Iran, Ira and Mikey. Everyone else, though, using the medium tyre. But as I was saying, Merckx leads the championship on 52. Sydney is second on 51 points. Ashtube, who is back tonight after missing the last 2 races at Mexico and Miami, he is third on 44 points. His teammate ARL is fourth on 36 after that first race win last week ever in IRL. Iran is 5th on 35 points. Ginger Tiger is 6th on 34 after his first podium of the season last week. Jeremy Clarkson is 7th on 33 points. The War Islander is 8th on 32 points. Clips Kiri is 9th on 29. He's not racing tonight, unfortunately, for Clips. And then Hulkenberger is the last of the top 10 on 22 points. Other drivers to note who are here: Nitrogash is 11th, he's on 15. Owen is 12th on 12, thanks to his first race finish in 400 years last week at Miami. And then O'Stephen is also on 12 points as well in the Aston Martin. Good evening to ARL. Hope you're doing all right. And then for the Constructors' Championship, just to give you a heads up, the Racing Bulls leading the way, Ashtube and ARL, they're on 80 points. Ferrari are second on 54, Sydney and Luke. McLaren are third, that's Ginger Tiger and Nitrogash, they're on 49 points, 5 behind the Ferraris. Jeremy Clarkson, FRLO Stephen, are fourth with the Aston Martin on 45 points, and then Haas are fifth on 43, that's Irun and Ira. Red Bull are very close actually to Haas, they're sixth on 40 points, just 3 points back, so that's the War Islander and SFR Matty. But no SFR Matty for last week or the week before, I believe. So War Islander does have Mercked as a temporary teammate for the time being. But the drivers are slotting themselves into their grid boxes. There's ARL, the last of the drivers, getting ready now for the sprint. Here it's Silverstone. And the race is live here in Britain. It's looking like a relatively even start from the front row, but look for Merck to try and split the two front pole grid slots, and he's going to go through on the outside line. He's going to have the inside for turn 3, but he's going to be forced and fended off by Sydney, who has a huge snap of oversteer in mid-corner. Ashtube's took advantage of the War Islander being a little bit further back, and Ashtube's going to go through into second place. There's a yellow flag out there. That's Mikey, who's facing the wrong way around, but Ashtube's has had a great start. Ashtube from the second row of the grid goes from fourth to second. There's a Mercedes diving through on the inside, and it's Owen going past Merckx, and Merck's been half turned around. He's got the car pointing in the right direction again. A little bit of contact between himself and Owen. That might have to be for the stewards, but the front three have made a break for it. Sydney, Ashtube and the War Islander. Owen's there in fourth. There's that's McLaren actually running extremely wide there in former Ginger Tiger. Jackie just trying to fend off from Irun and Luke as well. And Luke behind the Haas at the minute. Now it comes a battery game in terms of how the drivers are going to be able to cope with that, as Irun goes past Jackie. And Jackie having to defend from Luke. Luke's trying to go around the outside, but they're going to run on the marbles there at that point of the corner. And Luke has to slot back into 10th. There's Merck trying to find a way past. So the recovering Merck down in 11th place. ARL up from the back of the grid. Gets past Ira and Nitrogash in quick succession. So the Racer Bull up to 12th now. So ARL making the moves. Nitrogash as well, also up from the back. Mikey's had something's happened to him at the start. Not quite sure, but Jeremy Clarkson's through on Owen for 4th place. So nice move that on the outside of turn 3. He'll be happy at that on the outside of Village. But having said that the front 3 had pulled away, we now have, of course, overtake mode activated. And the front 6 are all together within that 1 second window as Merck tries to fight with Jackie. And Jackie's on the inside here on the exit of Lafayette. But that's a nice line. And Merck breezes on past the Ferrari, who just had no energy to deploy whatsoever. Jackie looking to the inside, he's going to have to let that one go. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say that was very, very clumsy as Jackie goes up into 10th place. So whether Luke will be impressed with that is another matter. But Merck up to 9th. He's going to try and get through on Irun if he can. Irun, of course, running the hard tyres. Change for 2nd place, and that is Ashtube going backwards, and Jeremy Clarkson has made it a quartet. Owen there in 5th still, and Irun gets past Ginger Tiger. That's all down to battery management, and this is one of those rare occasions where I'm going to flick the battery modes on. Oh, that was... I don't think that was... There's been a few clumsy things in this sprint race, and Merck has sadly been on the receiving end of 2 of them. As Merck slides all the way down the field, and Ginger's really squeezing Jackie there. Wow. And he's got damage as well as Ginger. He's going to try and get that place back, but I would say that there's a little bit of mist has descended into the McLaren camp as Mikey retires from the sprint. Oh, and then Ginger. Oh, yeah, it's not gone. It's a little bit of rage there, I think, from Ginger. It hasn't really particularly worked out for him, but he still has the feature race to come along. I'm sure if there's any big problems, he'll put them into the stewards area. As Jeremy Clarkson now goes past Ashtube, and Ashtube hasn't got much in the way of fuel, so that's why Ashtube's having a bit of a struggle. But it's fascinating to see the battery situation as Sydney now puts a lot of deployment down. War Islander will do the same. Jeremy Clarkson just about hanging on in there. I've got to say, Hulkenberger's doing a fabulous job here in the Alpine on those hard tyres. He's maintaining the gap, but as I say that, he's just slipped out of it. Iran fending off ARL. That's all very tight and twisty there. Going into the next couple of corners, Luke's right with them. Whoa, well he was, and then he had the battery on and it kicked him oversteer and off he went round at club. So he gets overtaken and drops back down to 11th place. And Aaron's still trying to fight with ARL, but ARL's got through now. Hulkenberger lost the 1 second deployment. He's trying to use his battery to just get back into that window. But Hulkenberger is seemingly in a good place to take a point here. As Merck now makes his way past Ira. Action everywhere you look here. Jeremy Clarkson and everyone. War Islander's gone. War Islander's gone off the road. And the man who was doing a great job was the War Islander. I think seemingly has spun out of second place. It doesn't look like anyone was near him. And the War Islander slips to the back of that group, but crucially, he's hung on to that group as Merck now tries to find a way past Luke at Maggots and Beckett's, and I think everyone's taking the Brave Bowl today. The Brave Pill is certainly active because everyone is throwing shapes and moves everywhere they want to go. ARL gets overtaken by Iran. Merck now back up to 9th, and look at the overspeed from Luke to go past Nitrogash, but Nitrogash has got a better line, and he removes that overtake and goes back up to 10th, and Iran now goes around the outside, but he goes deep into the left-hander and then loses a place after gaining one. So, that was an awkward line out of the final corner for Ira there. Jackie taking advantage. Ira picks up the first of the time penalties here on lap 5. We are in a battery deployment field at the moment. Of course, the whole site was developed around and in an airfield. ARL, he's going to try again. I was going to say it would have been quite brave from ARL to have lunged up the inside at Brooklands. He's going to try and go around the outside of Luffield. He's kept the car there. Two big snaps of oversteer from the Haas. And ARL, I think, he's going to go through here. He does. Just looking back from the Racing Bull. It's going to be close at the front. We'll come back to that shortly, but it is going to be a big fight here. I thought it would have been, but Jeremy Clarkson not quite in a position that I thought. Ashjeep just gets blitzed by from Owen. And Hulkenberger in front of the War Islander still. ARL, he's trying to hang on. Aaron's going to look to the inside at the right-hander there of Stowe. But he's going to be under pressure from Merck, who just uses a little bit of battery power. Then he outbraked himself into the left-hander, and then Aaron couldn't get on the power again. And that resolves itself. This has been a whirlwind of 6 laps so far. Luke struggling, I think, a little bit on fuel. That's Chibi's having to fight smartly. And speaking of fighting smartly, Jeremy Clarkson's into the lead of the race. He's had a really strong race so far as Jeremy. I've been looking at his moves through the field and didn't get qualifying right, but he's up 9 places. What a drive from the man who started in 10th place. Only ARL has overtaken more so far this evening. Now, Jeremy Clarkson's got the lead of the race, and now can Sydney respond? Owen has got a bit of a margin in 4th place, and Merck goes through on ARL. And the thing with Merck as well is that he has got the battery deployment, the extra amount compared to ARL, so you'll be able to use it down the straight, which they are both doing, but Merck seemingly has a little bit more, and that's going to put the Red Bull in the more advantageous position, and he retains 7th place. I did say that battery deployment is critical around this track, and whoa, that was a nice move from Jackie to retain 12th place from Erard. Casser there in 14th. Oh, Stephen on the back of this group, and Ginger Tiger at the back of the field. I'm amazed that Ginger Tiger's only 6 seconds behind, considering he was going off to Essex the way he was pointed. But Clark's is still lead, so we've got a fight at the front for first. Owen is then leading. I'm going to say the War Islanders coming back at this group, so this could go to be a quartet again, although the Red Bull sliding mid-corner through Brooklands. Not necessarily the ideal line, but Hulkenberger, of course, has been overtaken by the War Islanders since we went off that. And Sydney's back in the lead. Jeremy's going to respond. Little bit of battery deployment from the two. And they see the changes of position reverse again. There's plenty of action going on here at Silverstone. Let's just have a look at Sydney. Close to the back of the Aston Martin. He's going to go to the inside. He's going to go through. Sydney makes the move. Owen retains 3rd place, but he does have Ash Tube. Hulkenberger has repassed the War Islander. Hulkenberger looking very strong tonight. Seemingly just gelling very nicely with these hard tyres. Merck is catching this group, but even for a man of his superpowers, he's not going to be able to close down 4 seconds unless there is some drama in front of him. And speaking of a little bit of drama, Owen's gone deep at Village Corner. Ash Tube trying to fire underneath the Mercedes, but that isn't going to work. Ash Tube, is he going to look to the inside at Brooklands again? He does. He's on the inside line, and he's going to... Well, I was going to say he was going to go through. He's going to have to use the outside line at Brooklands as we ride on board the Spider Cam. And Owen can retain that place. But I don't think his battery's in the same position as Ash Tube's. And Ash Tube moves into 3rd again. Ginger Tiger picks up a time penalty. And the Hulkenberger will now be looking at this, and the War Island will be looking at this thinking, we might be quicker than these two. At the front, Jeremy Clarkson very close. Oh, I think War Islander went off the road, actually, as we were watching this fight for 3rd place. And the War Islander had a moment off track there on the exit of Chapel. Owen looking to the inside line. Trying to pick up more points. Maybe this is the start of Owen scoring more consistent points here in IRL as we go on to the final lap of the race. Battery games are being played. Jeremy Clarkson to the inside. This is for the race lead on the final lap. The Aston Martin goes through. Sydney keeps the car there. Slides it down the inside as Owen defends from Hulkenberger. But Jeremy Clarkson is in the lead. He will have the overtake boost as well. And he'll be able to defend from the Ferrari. Sydney is struggling on fuel, everyone. As Owen goes through, he's on the inside of Ash Tube. Hulkenberger's watching with a vested interest. They're both running out wide in front of him. And I think that is that. Yeah, it is the War Islander on the inside of us. In the Red Bull. Oh, this is going to get very tight here. We're almost going to go 4 wide. Hulkenberger can't go anywhere. There's 3 wide because push Owen off the road. Owen goes flying off the track. He manages to stay in a straight line. As Ash Tube and they're all going side by side. They're 2 by 2 through Maggott and Beckett. Goodness me. Who is going to come out on top in this one? They might all be getting excited over the battery. Someone's going to run out of deployment. Jeremy Clarkson's going to win this race. And the War Islander has just got up to 3rd. Unbelievable. It's going to be Jeremy Clarkson who takes the sprint win here at Silverstone. A great drive from 10th on the grid. Sydney second. And the War Islander is going to be the winner of the quartet for points. Ashtube 4th, Owen 5th. He'll be a bit annoyed about what happened going towards Cops. And Hulkenberger in 6th place. Wow, what a final lap. I think Luke tried to finish in the pits. I think Luke tried to serve his penalty in the pits, but it didn't really work out for him. Goodness me, what a final lap that was. Well, let's just go through these provisional sprint results. Jeremy Clarkson with the race victory from Sydney. Then it was War Islander and Ashtube, Owen and Hulkenberger in the points for Invictus Racing League drivers. ARL was 7th in the end, with Iran Mercked, who lost a lot of places on those last two laps, on the last lap there for Mercked. He's gone down to 9th. Nitrogash was 10th. It was Arar, Jackie, Kasser, O'Stephen and Luke. We had retirements from Mikey and Ginger Tiger. Owen, not very happy. And it looks like we're going to have a wet qualifying session then for the main race. Mikey has put a massive warning out to everybody as the safety car goes out on track just to assess the conditions. I'm just going to give myself a breather and then we'll go racing once again. Good evening to J Ray. Yeah, let's hope we have 29 more laps of that. Although I potentially would like... Oh, someone's readied up again. I don't know who keeps doing it, but this is becoming incredibly frustrating now. We might have to have a break after qualifying here. This is just ridiculous. We're going to go into the race, qualifying, full wet conditions. And we'll see if anyone... Well, Mikey's put it in the wall because he's miffed off about everything. But it's Sydney and Mercked at the front of this field as we go through qualifying. Mikey is telling everybody to back out because he's not happy about it. So whether this qualifying is going to happen is another matter. Sydney has actually disqualified himself. So that is disappointing. A couple of people have left in the form of Nitrogash and Sydney. Jeremy Clarkson currently on his way. It is. I think I'm going to just say this because I know that the drivers do like to watch the broadcast. Stop readying up. It's very easy to not press X or square or whatever you're using on the wheel, the controller, whatever it might be. It's very easy not to ready up. I just don't understand why people have such difficulty with that. As more people retire from the session. So Jeremy Clarkson did get provisional pole, but it will count for nothing, unfortunately. There. Interestingly enough, we had a split on the tyres there. Yeah, Mikey, not impressed at all. And we'll go back through that. Yeah, I think I'm just the reason why I'm a little bit quiet at the moment compared to my usual self is that I'm looking at the comments and a lot of people are getting really frustrated. So yeah, we are all leaving the session. We're going to have a little breather and then we will go racing again because that's what you're supposed to do. And we will go back in. So Mikey's started the invites out again. And for, the thing is, the plus side of restarting the lobby actually is that we can control the start, which is exactly what's supposed to happen. I do wish that that would happen in future F1 games, you know, for F1 27 perhaps. It is very not difficult for people to not press ready up. Just having a little look at the weather situation. Yeah, we are on dynamic. So that won't change, or will stay the same there. And it's frustrating because as well as that, the weather... I wonder whether Mikey can... Yeah, we'll have to keep the weather on dynamic, unfortunately, because that's just the way it is. So technically it is a reset. So if you are watching, do make a comment below. There's quite a few of you tonight watching, which we do have quite a lot of people who jump onto the live stream, which is always really nice to see. I say we can control it, but in terms of the restart, but yeah. We'll wait and see what happens. Who are the other people who haven't joined the lobby? I wonder if it's them. I wonder if it's those people who haven't joined the lobby yet are actually the problem. I was going to give myself a breather, but wait and see what Mikey says. I'm still waiting on Ira to select a car. IRL saying new title idea, 17 drivers versus one button. Luke is now in. We've got our drivers, I believe. So I suppose this does count as our break. We are waiting still for the last driver to pick their car, which they've done. There are two people who've pressed readied up, and that is Luke and Hulkenberger. Now, I'm not saying either of those two are the ones who've pressed ready up, but that is a bad time to press ready up after what's gone on. Mikey has called it. He said, right, let's go. Don't ready up until I say so. So the lead admin for Invictus Racing League has called us off for the second time this evening, following some shenanigans from people who've pressed readied up. I'm looking at Hulkenberger and Luke because they've been readied up since they joined the lobby. I wonder if, and it can be a very easy thing to do. People are absent-minded and they've just pressed it. They don't mean to do it deliberately, but the problem is that if you don't look and you keep pressing it, you know, it's not a good idea. It's not a good look, is it? Now, of course, again, with this next one-shot qualifying, we don't know what the weather conditions are going to be. Now, Jeremy Clarkson, in the extreme wet conditions, got pole position in that little session. Mikey's told everyone to go, and not enough people have readied up. It's just one of the... It's absolutely sod's law, isn't it, realistically? But enough people have done. We've had 5 minutes, a little breather, before we go again. ARL's having a good chuckle about everything. You can't see it. It's quite difficult for me to see, but well, it's obviously difficult, impossible for you lot to see. But ARL's just put a meme picture in the chat of a racing wheel that's got all of its buttons sealed up. It's causing a lot of consternation actually in the chat. Owen said, "Please never show that again," and Sydney has said, "What the proverbial is that?" Which is quite funny. So Stephen, War Islander, ARL are the ones we're just waiting to get into the lobby. War Islander now the last one. But if you are watching, for those of you that are, please do comment what your predictions are for qualifying or the race, whichever you prefer. Or both, if you're feeling adventurous. And it's going to be a dry qualifying session then. So no repeat of the full wet tyres we saw. Don't tell me someone's ready to... Don't tell me someone's ready to... Oh my days, someone has pressed readied up. That is shocking. That's actually shocking. Wow. Well then. Off we go then. For qualifying. Earlier than expected. From someone who's a dweeb. Mikey out there. In the field. Sydney currently leading the way. Now it's Owen. As Mikey has a bit of a slide on the exit. Sydney, the man at the front. Coming through the next couple of corners here in qualifying. Into the right-hander of Luffield we go. I'm still a little bit in shock actually about the fact that somebody readied up early. It's unbelievable whoever's done it. We can find out who's done it. There is actually a way of doing it, so I'm going to message Mikey. Into the right-hander, through Maggots, Beckett's. Down out of Chapel we're going to go in a moment. That's not the best line from Sydney, I don't think. From the outside, he might be a little bit compromised. But he had enough of an advantage over Jeremy Clarkson until we got to the straight. I think that line certainly didn't help. It's going to be mightily tight between the front runners, but it's looking like it's going Jeremy's way. Sydney's done really well in the braking zone. Going to be very tight towards the line, but it's Jeremy Clarkson. Doesn't matter if it's rain or shine. Jeremy's on pole. So, that's provisional qualifying then. It's Jeremy Clarkson and Merckx on row 1 with an all-Dutch row 2 of Sydney and the War Islander. Owen is 5th with Ash Cheap 6th. Ginger Tiger and ARL make up row 4, whilst Luke and Iran are inside the top 10. Kasser and Jackie are on row 6 with Irar and Hulkenberger row 7. Stephen was the last of the qualified times with Mikey and Nitrogash not setting a valid lap time. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we found the culprit. Might have found the culprit there. Everyone is stopped. No one's pressed it yet. So I think everyone now is aware. I think Mikey's going to get the footage from everybody. So if you are watching this, you better have saved your footage over the last 10 minutes. If you haven't done so already, make sure you do now. I'll have to wait and see. Funny now, everyone's behaving. Everyone is behaving themselves. We've got a little bit of cloud here at Silverstone. Just a little bit, nothing too major. Wouldn't spoil your Sunday afternoon, put it that way. 2 more races to go after tonight at Suzuka and Yas Marina for the final time of season 24. And then we'll have moved into a quarter of a century of seasons for season 25. Kasser asking whether it's one stop for the strategy. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, from my experience of racing on the game on F126 very recently around Silverstone, battery management is incredibly challenging. Around here, incredibly challenging. And I think that we saw a little bit of that in the sprints in those opening few laps. But if you get a little bit too caught up in the excitement of the battles, as we saw towards the end, you can lose out. As we go into the formation lap then, here at Silverstone, for the second race of the evening. Let's just have a look at the tyre situation. So a few more on the hards then. We've got Jeremy, the War Islander, Owen, Jackie and O'Stephen are the only 5 drivers on the hard tyre. Everyone else on the mediums. As Casser has disqualified himself somehow. I'm not quite sure. As it is just him who's disqualified himself. Doesn't seem to be, yeah, I wonder how he's done that. We can't see him. I wonder if he's just gone off the road or something. Bit of a peculiar one. Those are the strategies. It's saying 2-stop, medium, medium, soft. I think a 1-stop is possible here at Silverstone from my experience. Will require the drivers not to go aggressive. Iran now joins the group, as does Nitrogash, of the naughty drivers who've done something wrong, not able to complete the rest of the lap. I would be frustrated as a driver if someone knocked into the side of me. One, because it's Formula 1, you're like, hang on a minute, how are you that close to me during a formation lap? But 2, formation lap does give yourself some bearings for when you're racing, and just gives you a bit of an idea of the track surface in front of you as you go into the race. I think without that you struggle a little bit. I like having a formation lap personally in the game, but that is just my opinion. But we've got Jeremy lining up into his grid box. Merckx is there as well now after Sydney. He was very eager. And Mikey is going to come round the final corner and pull into position as he phases through Hulkenberger. And where's Mikey going? Is he in his grid slot there? Is he going to... Apparently that's valid according to the game. Right. So Mikey has somehow got himself out of his grid box in a legal position. Don't ask me how that works. But Clarkson is aimed to the middle of the road, as is Merckx. And it's the main race here at Silverstone, and that's a great start for the Aston Martin. Jeremy Clarkson moves into the lead with no issues whatsoever. There's a Racing Bull briefly up the inside of the War Islander, but Ashton won't find a way past there. Owen alongside ARL. They did this all of last week at Miami, and Owen has to slot. Oh, contact! Oh, and there's a little half spin for Owen. Looked like there was contact there. Sydney's had a half spin, I think, as well. He's just about managed to gather it all together as Ashtib tries to pass the War Islander. A couple of little knocks of contact, but everyone facing the right way for now. And then as soon as I say that, someone goes round again. We've got a yellow flag out there. Owen's got himself back up to 11th. That was important. Nitrogash goes past Wacky Jackie. Erard now trying to look for a way past. Nitro has no battery deployment there. And Jackie moves into 12th place. Gets very tight, doesn't it, on these opening laps. As O'Stephen gets taken by Casser, who took an awkward line there, and that didn't go to plan. Had to be very wary of that, did the Aston Martin driver. At the front, his other fellow teammate is leading the way. It's Jeremy Clarkson from Merckx, from Sydney, and the War Islander. Ashchi really trying to find a way past this Red Bull. He hasn't got much time to do it. I think if you want to make a move, do it as early as you can. That's going to be a track limits violation for Ash Tube, and War Islander moves back in front of him. The two Racing Bulls staying in position for now. So Ash Tube will be applying the pressure to the Red Bull as Sydney goes back in front of the Red Bull. And Owen moves into 10th place. So Owen's recovery drive... Oh, Hulkenberg, wow. Just getting all crossed up there on the exit of the hairpin. Lovely little sets of power slide moments. Not the quickest way to go around this track. It's Sydney fighting again with Merckx and with the race leader for that matter. As they come out of Luffield on towards Woodcote. Sydney has got a little bit more battery deployment than the Red Bull and goes back into second place. And I feel that this group of cars are going to stick together for quite a while. Good start from Ginger Tiger. Just going to turn the telemetry off in these opening stages. But Ginger's had a good start. He had a good qualifying as well. If he can just stick with this group, he does have Set Luke with him. Oh, look at the power levels here from the Ferrari. He breezes on through. Merckx goes back in front of Sydney for second position. As the drivers feed themselves into club for the third lap of the race, which is what we go on to. War Islander with the fastest lap of the race. I have to say that Jeremy and War Islander will be feeling very pleased with themselves right now on the hard compound tyre in this group, as is Owen for that matter. So Owen, although he's lost a few spaces from his start, he's gone down 5. Time-wise, he's still pretty close to Ash Tube, but he knows that it would be really important if there's a split in the field that he's on the right side of it. Merckx for the lead. Jeremy gives him just enough space, but Merckx is going to move into P1, so that is the championship leader going into this event in the lead of the race. But now Jeremy is going to go back around the outside. How do you want to use your battery, ladies and gentlemen? Everyone has their own way of doing it. There's Ash Tube and ARL. Luke's there. Ginger's just slipped outside a second. He'll still have his deployment, but Owen will be aware of what's going on in front. He needs to get past these two as quickly as he can. He doesn't need any fights behind as Jeremy gets overtaken by Merckx again for the race lead. And that's Sydney having to defend from the War Islander, who's trying to go around the outside. He's going to have the inside line at the penultimate corner. Sydney gets forced wide and Ash Tube goes through as well. A couple of time penalties already for Ira and Mikey now. But that was a nice opportunistic move from the Racing Bull to move into 4th position. So we've got a Red Bull 1-3 as it stands. It's Jeremy Clarkson, the odd one out in the Mercedes powertrain crew. Here comes Sydney again. Gets that move completed there. Just about managed to keep that. Luke's hanging on in 7th place to this toe, but he really needs to try and bring that gap down a little bit if he can. Ginger Tiger's lost it now. So there's your first split in the field. So you've got your top 7, then 8th to 11th, and then Nitric Ash has got the rest, pretty much the rest of the group behind. So the McLaren's at the front of 2 splits as it stands, but we go back to the front, and Jeremy Clarkson will have the battery available to him, but he's going to save it this time. War Islander right in behind, but the hard tyres, they'll be firing up now. Everyone thinking that a one-stop is possible. Luke has lost the battery deployment situation for himself. He's out of it. But Ginger Tiger got in. And I think that's Owen. Owen facing the wrong way. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Owen was on a solid recovery drive there. he didn't have no one by him either. Owen drops to 16th. That's a far cry away from his podium last week. But he's still with the pack. I don't think it's over for Owen yet. So I keep the faith for him. Let's hope he can re-motivate himself for the rest of this race. He's definitely more than likely to get into the points with the speed he's got tonight. But Merckx has Clarkson with him. War Island has just fell a little bit away from the front two. A couple of car lengths, and Sydney's noticed that. He will know, will the Dutchman, how vital it is to not lose that gap. There's Jeremy now, slots himself into position with Merckx. He's got the overspeed, but he's not close enough. I think Clarkson will be aware of what he needs to do here. He will know that it's not worth fighting with the race leader. If he can pull away from the War Islander, he knows that's the best strategy. And the two Racing Bulls are doing a great job here. Two Red Bulls, two Racing Bulls. So there's two teams with a chance of victory here. And they've got the full ammunition available to them. And speaking of ammunition, Clarkson firing on all of his cannons available to him. Gets himself back in front of Jeremy, but Merck's going to try and go underneath. Clarkson did leave space, to be fair, at Aintree. But the Aston Martin retains the lead as Ash Tube just slips out of 1 second. Just having a look at the battery situation. Everyone's looking quite good, actually, in the top 6. Luke has settled into what I can probably describe as being a slightly more lonelier race than before. Ginger, Iron, Hulkenberger. Iron and Hulkenberger have had plenty of fights over the years. Ira gets past Jackie, and then there's contact between the two. I knew that was going to happen. As soon as I cut away from it, I just knew the line that the pair of them took through that corner was going to bring contact, and Ira will be not pleased with that one. But Owen will be looking to strike back. O'Stephen in 16th place. Hasn't had the speed tonight, O'Stephen. A couple of races where he's been really strong this season, but then this one just not seemingly in his wheelhouse. And I would put that down to the unique characteristics of Silverstone and the battery deployment. Because if you've not done any practice for this track, it becomes a whole new learning game whilst you're out there on circuit. War Island was very close to Merckx then. Sydney now also starting to fall almost out of touch. Wonder if he's had a mistake out on circuit. Just a quick detail to note, fastest lap is still with the War Islander. 30.6. The two hard tyre runners in the top 3 have actually set the fastest lap so far in the race. Ash Tube did the 130.7. Forgive me on that. So that's where we are at the minute. That's where the section of the race is right now. The top 3 have managed to pull away from Sydney. So that looks like it's going to be Ford versus Mercedes in the engine departments around Silverstone. Sydney lost a lot of time there, actually, compared to the... Now that is early from Luke. He's the first of our drivers to go into the pits. He started on the mediums. He's gone for a second set of mediums, so he's going to have to stop again. So I suspect he'll do medium, and then a hard tyre at the end of this race. So that's where Luke is for now, as ARL moves past his teammate and into 5th position. So Luke, the first of the drivers in the top 10 to make a pit stop. Very long pit lane for those at Silverstone. It's a slow pit lane as well. Jeremy Clarkson's still leading the way. And in the last few moments, the War Islander now has fallen away from these two. Merckx is really with Jeremy right now. He's going to have the power. And can he find a way past? The answer to that question is a comfortable yes. Merckx goes through. So that is Merckx now leading the way. It's a Red Bull sandwich. And it's Sydney. The two Racing Bulls, they're still circulating. Ginger Tiger, the next driver, on his own in the McLaren. Jackie's fallen backwards a few spots down the Wellington Straight. Or rather down the Hanger Straight, I should say. Yellow flag. Oh, Owen's right. And Owen's out. Owen is out of the race. He had a second spin or a second bit of contact with somebody, and that's that. So Owen had 2-point scoring finishes in a row, but he becomes the first retirement of the evening here in IRL. And his car will pull over to the side. He'll be out of this one, which is a great shame. A great shame. We don't like seeing drivers retire, but it does seem that Owen's just not in the right space today. Out at the front though, these three are miles clear now of Sydney. But Merckx and the War Islander have got their own fight to think about, because Merckx is on the medium tyre and the two behind him are on the hard compound, which is looking like a very strong tyre right now. Jeremy in the slipstream, using the battery available to him. He's going to be on the inside at the right hand. A little correction mid-corner actually on the brakes into Stowe. Just probably took away a little bit of the opportunity for him. Going to have another attempt here. He knows where Merckx is saving his battery. And the Red Bull shuffles down to second place. And the War Islander is going to do the same to his teammate, potentially. Not quite. Ooh, I thought Merckx was going to run into the back of the Aston Martin there in a little slide from the medium tyre shod Red Bull in front of us. This trio having a good fight, and so are the two Racing Bulls for that matter, as Ashtube blasts past ARL for 5th position. Ginger's there in 7th on his own. Iran's got a little mini pack behind him of Hulkenberger and Nitro inside the top 10, as the War Islander now gets past Merckx. So the War Islander now making his moves in the form of this race. And Clarkson opens up the straight mode. The Ferrari, Sydney is still not too far away. He's doing a good job actually, as the War Islander gets re-overtaken by Merckx. And Merckx keeping these tyres alive here. I think he knows that he's got to as well. I think for Merckx, he's aware that he's got to take these medium tyres as far as he can. If he can stick with these two as the War Islander moves past his teammate, I think that Merckx will be thinking, if I can keep with these two for as long as I can, and then when I go out of 1 second, maybe that's when I'll pit. And speaking of pitting, we've got the first set. Ginger's in. Nitro has gone in. Or gone past, I should say. Hulkenberger as a McLaren. That's Ginger going through the Alpine. It's a bit of a peculiar one. I hope that didn't slow Hulkenberger down. That would have cost him time. Everyone though to the hard tyre. Luke of course has already been in the pits. He's on a 2-stop strategy, but he's 8 seconds in front of Ginger Tiger. So doing the undercut seemingly is giving the Ferrari time. It's just whether that he's going to be able to pull far enough away now from Ginger, and then when he comes into a second stop, whether he will have enough of a gap to be able to either A, be in front of the McLaren. It's unlikely, but potentially be in front of the McLaren, or B, be close enough to be able to reel the McLaren back in at the end and overtake him. That's what we'll have to see. He's the only person doing the two-stop, and why not? Why not give it a go? Sydney's in the pits, so that'll put the lead group on notice. ARL pits. Last week's race winner. No issues for either of those two. Nitro goes into the pits, as does Casser and Jackie. Early from Jackie in the Williams. I'm curious to know what tyres Jackie's going to take on, because the mediums won't do 16 laps. That looks like hard tyres from him. Yeah, it is. So Jackie is doing a second stint, and he got, well, Casser briefly got held down. Casser is in front of Jackie, and Jackie's going to have to do a second stint on the hard tyres. Certainly not put him in a good position for the rest of the race, because what Jackie's going to have to do is make a final pit stop for what I'd presume would be soft tyres. But Merckx is still there with this front group. And I don't think he can apply the pressure in the same way now, because his tyres aren't in the same position. But the longer he runs with this group, the better position he's going to be in when he's on the hard tyres shortly. There he goes into the pits as I say that. So he wasn't waiting for the gap to increase but any further than a second. But he does decide to get in the pits. Now, where will he feed out is a very important question that is yet to be answered. Ashtube is also in. Now Sydney has been able to, is on his outlap. Merckx trundles down the pit lane. And Sydney, he's just going to come out of the final corner now. And then Merckx will be up to speed. So Merckx's definitely going to come out in front of the Ferrari. But what is the gap? 2.7 seconds. Merckx's got a couple of corners to try and get these tyres warmed up and fired up. 2.5 seconds. And that's it. He's on his way now. So 2.7 seconds. So Sydney gained a second, just under a second on the outlap. So it was worth the undercut, but he needed a bit more than that, I think, to try and get close to the Red Bull. Luke is in front of ARL, and he's 8 seconds clear of Ginger Tiger, who he was in front of before everyone else made their stops. As Ashtube goes past O'Stephen. O'Stephen in his own battle today, probably more with Mikey than anyone else, as Mikey goes, I think Mikey went off the road, or someone's going very slowly. Mikey's got no front wing. That's what's gone on. So Mikey has spun on the exit of Aintree and hit the wall. We're lucky that there's no safety car there, as the War Islander now responds. Now he's going to be on the medium tyres till the end of the race. He'll have less fuel, so his tyre wear won't be as much as what Merckx was. But Merckx has gunned this on the outlap. He's done a really strong drive. I think he's going to come out comfortably in front. He is. Wow. That is some stop from Merckx. And to then come out... Whew, he's 5 seconds in front of the War Islander. That's an astonishing lap time from Merckx. If that is truly the case, Merckx has done something unbelievable in that moment. Jeremy Clarkson's out there at front. Jeremy Clarkson looks incredibly fast tonight. But Merckx is flying. Yellow flag again. That's just for the slowing Cadillac rather than the slow Cadillac. Owen not too pleased about the situation, but Jeremy Clarkson's in the pits, responding to Merckx. There's another car going very slowly then. It was a Haas of Ira, perhaps. No, it wasn't Ira. It's Iran, I think, who was going slowly. He's dropped time to Hulkenberger. Wonder if there was a moment for him then as Ashtube goes past Luke. And Merckx is... Oh, look at that for a lap time. 130.4. 130.2 from Sydney. Nice from Sydney. Where is the Red Bull? There it is. Jeremy's done a good enough outlap to get in front of Sydney. Now that's crucial for Sydney. This is a critical time in the race for Sydney here. He's got to try and stick with Jeremy Clarkson here if he can. But that gap's already looking like it's going to a second. And if that is the case, Jeremy will be free to fight Merckx, who's come out in the lead this race. Now, I've got to say that Merckx is on the counter tyre strategy to Jeremy at the minute. But it will come back together for the Red Bull driver later in the race. And considering that Merckx had 2 laps out there on those hard tyres, compared to Jeremy's one that he's now on, as Jeremy's within a second of the Red Bull, Merckx did quite well with that undercut. Not quite sure what happened to the War Islander. I'm starting to think whether it was less of Merckx magic, although it still was impressive, whether War Islander done something on the lap potentially. As Jackie picks up a time penalty. He's fighting with Casseur for the last point of the race as we move into the final 10 laps here. Yellow flag. Someone's had a moment out there. Was that Ashtube potentially or Luke? I'm not... Luke's now in the pits, so maybe it was just the Ferrari going slowly into the pits was what it actually was. ARL leading his teammate. It's like Liam Lawson and Arvid Lindblad this season, isn't it, folks? These two. Inseparable during the course of this race. So they'll be trying to do that for top honours. Now, Luke is going to come out outside of the points here. He's going to come out in front of Ira, I think. It looks like it. Yes, he will. But Luke will have much fresher tyres than those in front of him. He'll have a 4-lap advantage, which is quite significant in this race, but the one stop perhaps not working to his advantage. Not the 2 stop against the 1 stop, that is. He's 4.5 seconds behind Jackie. That's what he's got to try and make up. Let's see if he can do it. We're going to have battery mode on. Those are the position changes. So nitric gas up 7. War Islander's just gone past Sydney actually, so I think Sydney's had a mistake out there as ARL gets overtaken by Ashtube. I think, yeah, Sydney's 3 seconds behind. I wonder if maybe he didn't have a wobble, but War Islander now goes through past the Ferrari. Hulkenberg, as I was saying, up 6 places. But this is it now. Oh, Jeremy Clarkson very close to making a move for the race lead. As I said before, I am going to keep the battery mode on so everyone who's watching can see what the deployment situation is like for the drivers. So we've got 2 close fights at the front for first and for third, and then there's a battle for 9th with Iran Nitro. Casseur is not far away from that either, and I'd also say that Jackie's coming back. Change at the lead. Merckx gets overtaken by, you guessed it, Jeremy Clarkson. This has been very fun to watch as Merckx gets past the Aston Martin again. Down hanger straight. And ARL gets past Ashtube. So those two re-overtake themselves. Just having a little look back. Ginger's still in front. Ginger actually got past Hulkenberger, so who is still recovering in this race. Merckx was briefly back in front of Jeremy. That re-changed again. Or Merckx was saving battery. Hulkenberger didn't have the best qualifier. Ira is out, and that's a safety car. Safety car has been called. Ira is out of the race, and Ira has deliberately crashed out. Ira has deliberately crashed out of the race, and it's caused a safety car. Well, that is going to change everybody's situation now. That is going to reset everything again. And I'm saying that Ira has deliberately crashed. He must have done, because he was on the straight, miles down it, and he was on his own. So I think that Ira has done something there that will manipulate this race. And now, what do the drivers do? Does Jeremy Clarkson go into the pits, get a set of soft tyres on like Luke has? Jackie's gone for a set of mediums. Will the race leaders come in? Yes, he does. Everyone is going to pile into the pits. I don't see any reason why anyone would do anything else. It will probably be soft tyres all around. The Racing Bulls don't have to worry about a double stack because Ginger Tiger's over 10 seconds behind. If I was Mikey, who's in 15th place, I would just drive round. Mikey, just drive round. Mikey is driving round, because he might be able to lap himself here. Just look and see where Jeremy Clarkson's just about to come out of the pit. So Mikey didn't quite work for him, and if he was listening to me via the stream, then that's unfortunate. Where will he come out? Will he come out behind? Oh, it's going to be tight with War Islander. He was close, Mikey, to getting out in front of them. So Mikey's going to be the fourth car in the train, or is he the third car? Because War Islander's having to slow right down here. The game's not sure. Casser, I don't think Casser pitted. Yeah, Casser didn't pit. So he's going to be out there on hard tyres. It's going to be a bit of a sitting duck, I have to say, in the Alpine, because he's going to have soft tyre, medium tyre. O'Stephen decides not to pit. That was a good call for O'Stephen, because his medium tyres are relatively fresh. He only pitted 2 laps ago. But medium tyres against the softs, that'll be interesting. And speaking of interesting, Jeremy Clarkson and ARL have gone for mediums. Everyone else in the top 6 on softs. Now, I do think that the soft tyre isn't particularly great around Silverstone, but with this being a 26 lap race, if the safety car comes in on lap 20, which we suspect it will, at the end of lap 20, then the soft tyres will have to do 6 laps, and we saw that they weren't great by that point in the sprint race, so it would be going to be fascinating. But earlier on, we saw Jeremy Clarkson on the harder tyre. He was doing quite a good job against those that run the mediums. So I could be saying anything. Mikey could pick up another time penalty for speeding the pit lane. It's a bit of a shame. Aaron is also on the hard tyre. Why has Aaron gone onto the hard tyre? That's a surprising call from the Haas. So Stephen now decides to pit. So if Stephen effectively caught the back of the queue and then pitted, so he wanted to just try and gain some time, which is not a bad strategy actually for the safety car. Does he need anything else changing? No, he's just straight in. Aaron, well, he's going to stick out there on his hard tyres. That is a brave man. The hard tyres are actually the best tyre at Silverstone. Interesting. I know some of you might not be aware of it, but for the race, the hard tyre is the best tyre for this track. It's been mitigated somewhat because of the new boosting now. So the raw performance isn't necessarily the same like it was in the old days when you had DRS. I say old days, but you know, like last year when you had DRS. So it's all to play for. We don't have to worry about tyres. Pretty much for the end of this race, it will be all go. Jeremy has mediums on. ARL has got mediums on. Casser has old hard tyres on. Jackie has mediums. And Iran, of course, has got hards on. Now, is the safety car going to go in? No, Stevens not far away from the pack. This could be a late call. It might not. Oh! Jackie's gone off. Jackie's gone off into the wall on the exit of Chapel. I'm just looking now to see if he did that all by himself. No, I think he got tagged. Jackie's gone. Jackie's out of the race. I'm just watching the replay back. I think he got tagged. I think he got tagged by the McLaren weaving. That is one for the stewards. Oh, that is a shame. And then Jackie just put himself in the wall. Well, we go down to 14 cars. Irard deliberately crashed out of the race to influence this situation. Jackie deliberately crashed out of this race, which doesn't impact anybody. But I think he will be a bit peeved off about what's just happened with himself and the McLaren. I think it was nitric ash. I think there's been contact between the two. I think the worst thing for Jackie is if he'd have gone into the pits, he probably could have got a new front wing and changed everything and got back out there. He'd have lost 4 places, but he'd have been 14th. Swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But the safety car has stayed out for another lap, which is going to give another advantage to those on the soft compound tyre. But we are going to be surely going under green flag running at the end of this lap. And there you go, race control telling us that the safety car is in. It's all down to Merckx to respond to what Jeremy Clarkson does effectively. 5 laps of action, soft tyre versus mediums. Who has made the right call for the sprint to the line? If another safety car gets called, the soft tyres will be the best one to be on. The safety car is now in the pit lane, so Jeremy Clarkson will have full control of when he wants to drop the hammer in the AMR 26. He's not gone yet. Merckx just feathering the throttle. He's still not gone yet. He's still not gone. Now he goes. Jeremy Clarkson gets us restarted here at Silverstone. He's done a relatively good restart, but Merckx was matched to him. It's not quite close enough though in the Red Bull as we go through Village for the 22nd time. Sydney was a little bit slow on that restart, but he got away with it because Merckx started fighting with Jeremy. Here we go. Towards the left-hander we go. Merckx still there. Ashtube gets past his teammate on those soft tyres. Oh, and Casser's gone off the road. No, it's not. Yes, it is Casser who's gone off the road. Aaron goes through. And Casser is a sitting duck, I feel. I don't think he's going to have any grip in those tyres whatsoever. O'Stephen's going to go for him. This is going to be tight into Cops. O'Stephen gets that position made. Casser's going to come right back at the Aston Martin and go through. Nice move that from Casser. Still defending, he's trying to hold on to that last point. But speaking of last decisions, Jeremy Clarkson couldn't make any more after that second weave. Merck right there with him. Top 8 all close together. Nitro just hanging on. Of course, Nitro also on the soft tyre. Just to give you an update, the top 10 all on the soft tyres, barring ARL and Jeremy Clarkson. As Ashtube, nice move on the Red Bull of War Islander, but War Islander are around the outside, and they are 3 astern almost. Going into turn 3 at Village. Clarkson now hanging on, and I wonder if there's going to be a bit of power play games going on here to try and get hold of the battery. The sister teams side by side through Aintree. Merck's going to go to the outside line. He's going to go all the way around the outside at Brooklands. Clarkson keeps his nose there, but he's going to be on the outside for Luffield. And he goes through. Merck takes the lead with 3.5 laps to go, but Jeremy Clarkson strikes right back at him and moves into the lead of the race. The front 3 having a big fight, which is keeping the next trio right with them. Ginger Tiger, he did have the overtake mode, but he's lost it in that moment. So he's now leading a group of 4. Iran's 11th. Those hard tyres are just going to get him home. And I know Stephen is in front of Casser for now. We're going to go for round 400 here at Silverstone as Jeremy Clarkson gets overtaken by Merck at Stowe. Lovely overtake that from the Red Bull. War Islander and the 2 Racing Bulls, they're having a good scramble for 6th place. Hulkenberger's got in front of Ginger Tiger. Luke and then Nitrogash are inside the top 10. Iran and Casser got back in front of O'Stephen. Despite having hard tyres on, they've done quite a lot of laps. Whoa! Sydney, that was late and wide, but he's got the inside for turn 4. They bang wheels through the left-hander, and Merck is just going to have a little bit of an advantage over himself, over Jeremy Clarkson and Sydney, and the War Islander very close to the Ferrari and getting through. The gloves are off now as Luke goes through, potentially on Ginger Tiger, but Ginger hangs it all the way around the outside at Brooklands into the right-hander of Luffield. You can see the Ferrari there, but the McLaren moves into 8th spot. Merck now is being hunted down by the AMR 26. Ooh, a big bounce over the curbs as they approach Chapel from Jeremy. Merck retains the race lead. And Luke goes back in front of Ginger. Big slide that, for the way the car moved on that Ferrari. Travelling all over the road. Ginger tries to strike back. He can't find that move though. And the McLarens have just slipped into the bottom reaches of the top 10. Still a good situation to score points though. Casser and Iran 11th and 12th. I know Stephen's battling to do what he can to get back into the points. But the top 6, this is the sextet that have got the grip for the race lead. And it could go any way. Here comes Sydney down the inside. That was a late lunge. Jeremy has to try and go around the outside at Luffield. And they can squabble like this because they've got the extra horsepower from the overtake mode. Merck can't do much about it as the race leader. On the penultimate lap, this is going to go. This is going to go to the wire. This race, we are on the penultimate lap. Merck leads. But you could potentially argue that that's not where you want to be. War Islander picks up 3 seconds worth of time penalties at Stowe, and Sydney locks up and goes off into Gloucester. and War Islander will go around the outside of him. And that's exactly what the front two wanted, because War Islander is now a second away. Ash Tube took advantage of that issue for Sydney as well. Jeremy moves to the inside for the race lead, and the Aston Martin goes through. Sydney trying to hang on. This is a fight now for a podium place behind the Red Bull. The War Islander loses the traction, so does Ash Tube, but he gets in front of the Dutchman. ARL, I think he can sniff an opportunity here. Can last week's race winner trying to find potentially fourth place. Oh, Sydney almost going off the road. Can he go around the outside of the Ferrari? It's close, but not quite close enough. Sydney's trying everything he can. Merckx, of course, he's on the wrong side of this battle here, but if he can just save a bit of battery, he might have a chance. They all start to save as much battery as they can and go on to the final straight here at Silverstone. Could it be for Merckx? He's got a bit of overspeed. He's closing the gap down. Ash Tube goes through for third, but he's not close enough. And Jeremy Clarkson and Merckx gets a time penalty as well. This is going to completely reshape the race here. Into the final corner they go. It's Jeremy Clarkson who wins here at Silverstone. What a great drive from the Aston Martin man, who sets fastest lap as well. Ash Tube is second. Merckx gets third, just from Sydney thanks to the time penalties. ARL takes fifth place, and the War Islander is sixth. Hulkenberger seventh from Ginger Tiger, who got past Aaron and Luke in the end. Aaron ninth, Nitric Acid 10th. The Ferrari of Luke has DNF'd, but I believe he crossed the line, so not sure about that one. We'll have to wait and see what that's set. In fact, let me just have a little look. So, yeah, Luke finished the race in 10th. So Luke should be in 10th place, I believe. We'll have to go to the... Yeah, we'll have to go to the stewards for that one. But fabulous last couple of laps of action there. But it's Jeremy Clarkson, the Jamaican, who takes the race win from Merckx on track, but it ended up going to Ash Tube, who got second. So Ash Tube will be delighted with that finish. And Merckx was third in the end. Sydney got fourth. Let's just have a look at the tally. So race winner and fastest lap on the last lap for Jeremy Clarkson. He'll be pleased with that. Hulkenberger gets the most overtakes and driver of the day. Well done to Hulkenberger. And Ginger Tiger got cleanest driver. But if we have a look at the provisional race finishes, it's Jeremy Clarkson who wins the race from Ash Tube. Merckx with a rare penalty in third place to drop him from second. Sydney fourth. ARL in fifth place. The War Islander in sixth with Hulkenberger seventh. Ginger Tiger is eighth with Iran in ninth. We will have to have a look at Luke, because he definitely finished across the line in 10th place, but for some reason it said he's retired. Then it's Nitric Ash technically in 11th and Kaser 12th. O'Stephen 13th, Set Luke not there, so then it's Mikey in 14th. Jackie crashed out, Irad deliberately crashed out of the race, and Owen sadly retired in the end. Well, that was frantic, that was frenetic, and there was a whole host of action around Silverstone. Always promotes opportunities for overtakes and a little bit of shenanigans as well. And the battery situation certainly was a challenge. Next week we're off to Suzuka. There'll be a little bit more of an opportunity potentially to save battery around there, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Lots of action, lots of battles, but well done to Jeremy Clarkson for the race win. I've been Jack TM53, your commentator for this evening. Thank you very much for watching. Wherever you might be in a big wide world, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.